She thought her life ended with the diagnosis, but the millionaire loved her through it. When ceramic artist Simone received her stage 3 cancer diagnosis, she thought her life was over at 35. Hiding the truth from her family, she worked alone in her Asheville studio, hands trembling from treatment, until wealthy developer Julian Harding walked through her door. He didn't see a dying woman, he saw the brilliant artist who could create magic from clay. As he fell for her broken pieces and she fell for his patient heart, Simone faced an impossible choice. Keep hiding and face cancer alone, or risk everything: her pride, her secrets, her carefully guarded heart, for a love that refused to quit, even when her body was failing. Welcome to Emotional Voyage. I'm so glad you're here to share this journey with me. If this content resonates with you, please hit the like button and subscribe. Your support helps me create even deeper, more meaningful videos for our community. Let's navigate these emotions together. The pottery wheel spun too fast, and Simone's hands shook. Not from the speed. From the steroids. The oncologist said the tremors would pass, but that was week 3 of the same promise. She pressed her palms against the wet clay anyway, watching it collapse into a shapeless mess for the 4th time that morning. Damn it! She grabbed the wire cutter, sliced the failed attempt off the wheel, and threw it into the reclaim bucket with more force than necessary. Clay splattered across her apron, her jeans, the concrete floor of her studio. 2 months ago, she could throw a vase in 20 minutes. Now she couldn't center a simple bowl. 2 months ago, she didn't have stage 3 breast cancer. Simone wiped her hands on a towel and walked to the window of her small studio in Asheville's River Arts District. May sunshine poured over the French Broad River, turning it golden. Tourists wandered between the converted warehouses, peeking into studios, buying art they'd packed carefully for the trip home. She used to love Saturdays. Now they just reminded her of everything about to end. Her phone buzzed. Another text from her sister. Ro, Ma wants to know if you're coming to Sunday dinner. She made your favorite. Simone closed her eyes. She hadn't told them yet. Couldn't find the words to break her mother's heart, to watch her sister's face crumple, to become the family tragedy instead of the family success story. The bell above her studio door chimed. We're not really open, she called without turning around. Just working. The sign says, studio open during daylight hours. The voice was deep, pleasant, with the crisp edges of someone educated up north but softened by years somewhere kinder. Simone turned. The man in her doorway looked like he'd wandered out of a completely different story. Tailored navy blazer over a white shirt, no tie. Dark blonde hair with threads of silver at the temples. Maybe late 30s, with the kind of easy confidence that came from never wondering if you belonged somewhere. He was white, clearly wealthy, and exactly the kind of person who wandered through artist studios on Saturday mornings looking for conversation starters for dinner parties. I'm working, she said. Not selling today. I'm not buying. He stepped inside, hands in his pockets, eyes scanning the shelves of finished work. I'm looking for someone who can create something specific. Custom commission. Your work was recommended. By who? Gallery owner on Biltmore Avenue. Said you're the best ceramic artist in Asheville, but you've been turning down projects lately. His eyes landed on hers. They were startlingly blue. I'm hoping you'll make an exception. Simone felt the familiar flutter of pride, immediately crushed by reality. She was turning down projects because she couldn't guarantee she'd be alive to finish them. Because her hands shook. Because some mornings she couldn't get out of bed. I'm not taking commissions right now. What if I paid double your rate? It's not about money. Triple, then. He smiled, and it transformed his entire face from handsome to dangerous. And I'm patient. No deadline pressure. She should say no. She should tell this man, this stranger with his tailored jacket and easy smile, to walk back out into the sunshine and find another artist whose body wasn't betraying them. Instead, she heard herself ask, "What do you want made?" He walked to her work table, picked up one of her business cards. Dinner set for 12. But not matching. Each piece unique but cohesive. Like a family that doesn't look alike but belongs together. Something in his voice caught her attention. Pain, maybe. Or loneliness. That's a massive project, she said. Months of work. Like I said. I'm patient. He held out his hand. I'm Julian, by the way. Julian Harding. She knew that name. Everyone in Asheville knew that name. Harding Development had revitalized half the city, turning crumbling warehouses into art spaces, investing in local businesses, preserving historic buildings instead of tearing them down. This wasn't just some wealthy tourist. This was possibly the wealthiest man in western North Carolina. Simone Winters. She shook his hand, hating how hers trembled slightly. If he noticed, he didn't show it. So, will you consider it? Every logical part of her brain screamed no. But standing in the sunlight, looking at this stranger who somehow made her studio feel less empty, she felt something she hadn't felt since the diagnosis. Possibility. I'll think about it, she said. Julian smiled. That's all I'm asking. He left his card on her table, heavy stock, embossed letters, and walked back into the May morning, leaving Simone alone with her broken clay and the strange, terrifying sensation of wanting something beyond just surviving. Simone stared at Julian Harding's business card for 3 days. Heavy cream stock. Embossed lettering. A phone number and email address, nothing else. The kind of minimalist design that screamed money so old it didn't need to announce itself. She'd Googled him, of course. Found articles about his company's projects, a few photos from charity galas where he stood slightly apart from the crowd, always in a perfectly cut suit. No mention of a wife. No social media presence. Just a man who'd made a fortune turning forgotten buildings into something beautiful. The card sat on her kitchen counter Tuesday morning while she choked down anti-nausea medication with ginger tea. Sat there Wednesday while she slept through her usual studio hours, too exhausted to stand. Sat there Thursday when she finally told her mother she had the flu and wouldn't make Sunday dinner. "Baby, you need me to come over?" her mother had asked, voice tight with worry. "No, Ma. I'm fine. Just need rest." The lie tasted worse than the medication. Friday morning, she woke up feeling almost human. The tremors had calmed. She made it to the studio by 9, determined to throw something, anything, that didn't collapse under her hands. The clay centered on the 3rd try. Small victory, but she'd take it. She was pulling up the walls of a bowl when someone knocked on the studio door. Not the bell, the actual door, the heavy one she kept propped open for airflow. Julian Harding stood in the doorway holding 2 coffee cups and a bakery bag. "You didn't call," he said. "So I figured I'd check in." Simone's hands stilled on the clay. "That's not creepy at all. It's Asheville. Everyone knows where everyone works." He held up the cups. "Peace offering. Black coffee or oat milk latte. I hedged my bets." Despite herself, she smiled. "Oat milk." He handed it over, then set the bakery bag on her work table. "Croissants from the place on Lexington. The owner swears they're the best in the South. Claire's been saying that for 15 years. Simone took a sip of the latte. Perfect temperature, perfect sweetness. She's not wrong. Julian leaned against the doorframe, coffee in hand, looking completely comfortable in his expensive casual wear, dark jeans, white Henley, leather jacket that probably cost more than her monthly studio rent. "So," he said, "have you thought about my offer? I thought you said you were patient." "Patient doesn't mean not interested." His blue eyes tracked to the bowl taking shape on her wheel. "That's beautiful. It's basic. Beauty usually is." Something about the way he said it made her look up. He wasn't watching the bowl anymore. He was watching her hands, her face, with an intensity that made her skin feel warm. She cleared her throat. "Why do you really want this dinner set?" "I told you." "No. You told me what you want made. Not why." She kept her hands moving on the clay, grateful for something to do. A man doesn't commission custom pottery for 12 and offer triple rate without a reason. wedding, anniversary, trying to impress someone. Julian was quiet for a long moment. Then he walked further into the studio, set his coffee down, and picked up one of her finished pieces, a serving bowl glazed in deep blues and greens that looked like the ocean. I have a daughter, he said finally. Lily. She's 7. Lives with her mother in Charleston most of the year. Simone's hands nearly slipped. She hadn't expected that. I'm trying to make my house here feel like home for her, he continued. Not a hotel she visits. Not her dad's place. Home. And I thought, if we had dishes that were ours, that we picked together, that were made for us specifically. He trailed off, looking almost embarrassed. It's probably stupid. It's not stupid. He looked up, surprised. It's actually really sweet. Simone shaped the rim of the bowl carefully. Most people just buy matching sets from Pottery Barn and call it a day. I'm not most people. Clearly. She cut the bowl from the wheel, set it on a board to dry. When does Lily get here? 2 weeks. She spends summers with me. And you want her to help design her own dishes? If that's possible. Julian's whole face had changed talking about his daughter. Softer. More open. I want her to feel like this place is hers too. That she belongs here as much as she belongs in Charleston. There it was again. That theme. Belonging. Family that doesn't match but fits together. Simone wiped her hands on her apron, thinking. A project like this, working with a kid, creating something meaningful, not just functional, it was exactly the kind of work she'd gotten into ceramics for. Before the diagnosis. Before everything became about survival instead of living. Triple rate is too much, she said. Julian straightened. That's not a no. Double rate. And Lily gets to participate in every stage she wants to. Throwing, glazing, design decisions. This is her project as much as yours. Deal. He held out his hand. She shook it, ignoring how her pulse jumped at the contact. I'll draw up a contract. Timeline's flexible, but I'm going to be honest, I can't guarantee consistent work hours. I have some health stuff I'm dealing with. Something flickered in his expression. Concern, maybe. Anything serious. I'm managing it. He didn't push, and she was grateful. Instead, he pulled out his phone. Can I get your number? For coordinating with Lily's schedule. She rattled it off, watched him save it, tried not to think about how long it had been since an attractive man asked for her number. Before the diagnosis, she'd been on dating apps, going to gallery openings, living a normal 35-year-old life. Now she was just trying to live. I'll have Lily call you when she gets in, Julian said, heading for the door. She's going to love this. Julian. He turned back. Thank you, Simone said. For the project. For trusting me with it. His smile was slow, warm, and did dangerous things to her carefully constructed walls. Thank you for saying yes. After he left, Simone sat at her wheel for a long time, staring at the bowl she'd made. The first piece she'd completed without her hands shaking apart. Maybe this project was reckless. Maybe she was making promises her body couldn't keep. But for the first time in 2 months, she felt like something other than a woman waiting to die. She felt like an artist again. What do you think Julian's real story is? Why is his daughter in Charleston with her mother? And can Simone keep her diagnosis hidden while working closely with him? Drop your thoughts below. The treatment center parking lot was half empty at 7 in the morning. Simone had learned to schedule her appointments early, before the River Arts District woke up, before anyone she knew might spot her car at the oncology wing. She wore sunglasses even though the sun was barely up, a baseball cap pulled low, like she was hiding from paparazzi instead of her own family. Ms. Winters. The nurse, Rachel, kind eyes, always warm hands, appeared in the waiting room doorway. We're ready for you. The infusion took 3 hours. Simone brought her sketchbook, drew designs for Lily's dinner set while poison dripped into her veins. Plates with mountain ridges. bowls that looked like river stones, cups small enough for a 7-year-old's hands. She was almost finished with the sketches when her phone buzzed. Julian, Lily wants to know if you like unicorns or dragons better. Apparently this is very important information. Despite the needle in her arm, despite everything, Simone smiled. Simone, dragons. Obviously. Unicorns are too predictable. Julian, she says you're completely right, and she's going to like you. Simone, when does she get in? Julian, tomorrow afternoon. Would Monday work for a studio visit? Around 10. Simone looked at the 4-bag, half empty. Looked at her calendar. Mondays were usually her worst days, the treatment hangover hitting hardest 72 hours post-infusion. Simone, Monday's perfect. She was lying to everyone now. Her family. Julian. Herself. Sunday dinner was unavoidable. Simone showed up at her mother's house in the Montford neighborhood at 4, bringing flowers because showing up empty-handed to Mama's table was a sin. The house smelled like cornbread and pot roast, like every Sunday of her childhood. There she is. Her sister Ro appeared from the kitchen, pulling Simone into a hug. Ma was about to send a search party. I was sick last week. I'm better now. You look tired. Ro pulled back, studying her face with the intensity of a younger sister who'd spent 32 years reading Simone's moods. You eating enough? I'm fine. You're skinny. I'm the same size I've always been. Girls. Their mother's voice carried from the kitchen. Stop blocking my doorway and get in here. The kitchen was warm, crowded, perfect. Mama stood at the stove, wooden spoon in hand, wearing the apron Simone had made her 3 Christmases ago. Gray had taken over most of her hair now, but her face was smooth, her eyes sharp. She took one look at Simone and frowned. You're still sick. I'm fine, Ma. Don't, I'm fine me. I'm your mother. I know fine, and that's not it. She pointed the spoon at a kitchen chair. Sit. Eat. You're staying after dinner so I can send you home with leftovers. Ro shot Simone a look that said told you so. Dinner was loud, warm, normal. Ro talked about her job at the hospital. She was a physical therapist, always had stories about stubborn patients. Mama complained about the new family that moved in next door and let their dog bark at all hours. Nobody mentioned that Simone had lost weight, that her hands shook slightly when she reached for the salt, that she pushed food around her plate more than she ate it, or maybe they noticed and were being kind. After dinner, while Ro loaded the dishwasher, Mama cornered Simone at the counter. What's really going on, baby? Simone's throat went tight. Nothing. Just busy with work. You've been busy with work your whole life. This is different. Mama's hand was soft on her cheek. You know you can tell me anything. The words were right there. I have cancer. I'm scared. I don't know if I'm going to be okay. But Mama's eyes were so full of love, so trusting, and Simone couldn't do it. Couldn't watch that trust turn to terror. I got a big commission, she said instead. Custom dinner set. It's taking a lot of energy. Not a complete lie. Just not the whole truth. Mama searched her face, then nodded slowly. Okay. But you call me if you need anything. Promise. Promise. Another lie to add to the collection. Monday morning came too soon. Simone woke up at 6 feeling like she'd been hit by a truck. Nausea rolled through her in waves. Her hands shook so badly she dropped her toothbrush twice. She called the studio phone from her cell, left a message canceling the 10 o'clock appointment, and crawled back into bed t 9:30. Someone knocked on her apartment door. Simone dragged herself upright, pulled on a robe over her pajamas, and looked through the peephole. Julian stood in the hallway holding a grocery bag. She almost didn't open the door. She looked terrible, no makeup, hair wrapped in a satin bonnet, eyes puffy from medication and crying she'd pretend hadn't happened. He knocked again. Simone? I got your message. I brought soup. Against her better judgment, she opened the door. Julian's expression went from friendly to concerned in half a second. Hey. You okay? I'm fine. Just a bad day. She clutched her robe tighter. You didn't have to come all the way here. You canceled last minute. I wanted to make sure you were all right. He held up the bag. I've got chicken soup, ginger ale, and crackers. My daughter's sick day essentials. Can I come in? She should say no. Should maintain boundaries. Should not let this man, this client, see her like this. Yeah, she heard herself say. Come in. Her apartment was small, cluttered with art books and half-finished sketches. Julian didn't seem to notice. He went straight to her kitchen, started unpacking containers like he'd done this 1,000 times. My ex-wife used to get migraines, he said, pulling down a bowl from her cabinet like he knew where everything was. Taught me that sometimes people don't want solutions. They just want someone to sit with them while it sucks. Simone sat at her tiny kitchen table, watching this wealthy man heat up soup in her cheap microwave. This isn't a migraine, she said quietly. I know. He set the bowl in front of her, sat down across from her. You don't have to tell me what it is. But you also don't have to pretend it's nothing. Her eyes burned. I'm supposed to be professional. You're a client. I'm a guy who wants to make sure you're okay. His voice was gentle. The pottery can wait, Simone. You matter more than dishes. Something in her chest cracked open. I have cancer, she whispered. Julian went very still. Breast cancer. Stage 3. I've been in treatment for 2 months. The words tumbled out now, unstoppable. I haven't told my family. I can't tell them. And I keep taking projects I might not live to finish because the alternative is admitting I'm dying. You're not dying, Julian said firmly. You don't know that. You're right. I don't. He reached across the table, covered her shaking hand with his steady one. But I know you're fighting. And I know you're not alone anymore. Simone looked at their hands, her dark fingers, his pale ones, joined across cheap laminate. Why are you being so nice to me? She asked. Because I know what it's like to go through hell alone, he said. And nobody should have to do that. Something in his eyes told her there was a story there. Pain he understood too well. Eat your soup, he said softly. Then tell me what you need. For the first time in 2 months, Simone let herself stop pretending. And for the first time in longer than that, she didn't feel quite so alone. Have you ever had to hide something important from your family to protect them? How do you think Simone's mother will react when she finds out? And what's Julian's story? What hell has he survived? Share your thoughts below. Julian left after making sure Simone ate half the soup and promised to rest. He didn't ask questions. Didn't offer platitudes about staying positive or fighting hard. Just squeezed her hand at the door and said, text me when you're up for visitors. No pressure. She slept for 14 hours straight. Tuesday morning, she woke up feeling almost human again. The nausea had backed off to a dull roar. Her hands were steadier. She showered, dressed in actual clothes instead of pajamas, and stared at her phone for 10 minutes before typing. Simone, I'm better today. Is tomorrow too soon for that studio visit? The reply came in seconds. Julian, Lily's been asking about you every hour. Tomorrow's perfect. 10 am? Simone, see you then. She spent the rest of Tuesday preparing the studio. Mixed clay. Set up a small wheel sheet borrowed from a colleague. Child-sized, easier for little hands. Organized glazes by color family, thinking about what a 7-year-old might like. Kept herself too busy to think about the fact that she'd told Julian Harding her deepest secret and the world hadn't ended. They arrived at 9:55. Simone heard them before she saw them, a child's voice, bright with excitement, asking a million questions. Then Julian appeared in the doorway, and beside him was the most beautiful little girl Simone had ever seen. Lily Harding had her father's blue eyes and blonde hair that fell in waves past her shoulders. She wore overalls covered in paint stains and unicorn sneakers that lit up when she walked. Mixed race, Simone realized, her skin a warm brown, features a gorgeous blend that spoke of a black mother and white father. Are you Simone? Lily asked, eyes wide. Dad says you make magic with mud. Simone laughed, the sound surprising her. I don't know about magic, but I definitely work with mud. You must be Lily. I'm 7 3/4. Almost 8. Lily walked right up to the pottery wheel like she owned the place. Can I touch it? Lily, Julian said. Maybe let Ms. Winters. She can touch whatever she wants, Simone interrupted. And call me Simone. Ms. Winters makes me feel old. Lily beamed. She ran her fingers over the wheel, the tools, picking up a trimming knife and examining it like an artifact. This is so cool. Do you live here? No, I just work here. I live in an apartment in West Asheville. Do you have kids? Nope. Just me. Do you have a husband? Lily. Julian started. It's okay. Simone met his eyes, saw the apology there. No husband. No boyfriend, either, before you ask. Lily grinned. I wasn't gonna ask that. But now I know. She set down the knife carefully. Dad says we're making special dishes. Just for our family. That's right. 12 place settings. Plates, bowls, cups. All unique but belonging together. Like me and Dad. Lily said matter-of-factly. We don't match but we're family. Something in Simone's chest squeezed. Exactly like that. Can I make something today? Please. Lily looked up at Julian. Dad, can I? Julian looked at Simone, question in his eyes. She nodded. Absolutely, Simone said. I set up a wheel just for you. But first, we need to talk about what you want your dishes to look like. What makes you happy? Lily didn't hesitate. Mountains. And rivers. And dragons. And my mom's garden, she grows roses. And Dad's dog, Copper. And books. I really love books. That's a lot of things, Simone said, smiling. But I think we can work with it. Want to sketch some ideas? She set Lily up at the work table with paper and pencils. The girl drew with complete focus, tongue poking out in concentration. Julian stood back, watching his daughter with an expression so tender it made Simone look away. She's amazing, Simone said quietly, moving to stand beside him. She's my whole world. His voice was low. Her mother and I, we didn't work out. But Lily's the best thing I've ever done. What happened? If you don't mind me asking. Julian was quiet for a moment. Claire, my ex-wife, she's a good person. Great mother. We just wanted different things. She loves Charleston, her family's there, her work. I needed space from my family, needed to build something that was mine. The distance became too much. That must be hard. Being apart from Lily. Hardest thing I've ever done. He watched his daughter draw a remarkably detailed dragon. But Claire and I are friendly. We put Lily first. And summer's here, holidays, video calls, we make it work. Is that why you really wanted the dishes? Simone asked. To make your time together feel more permanent. Yeah. He looked at her then, really looked at her. I don't want Lily to feel like she's visiting. I want her to know this is home too. That she has roots here, not just in Charleston. You're a good dad. I'm trying to be. Done. Lily announced, holding up her sketch. Look. She'd drawn a plate covered in mountains and flowers, a dragon winding between them. It was chaotic and beautiful and perfectly 7 years old. It's perfect, Simone said. Let's make it. The next hour was pure joy. Simone showed Lily how to wedge clay, how to center it on the wheel, how to use gentle pressure to shape something from nothing. Lily's hands were small but surprisingly steady. She laughed when the clay got messy, didn't get frustrated when her first attempt collapsed, just tried again. Julian took pictures on his phone, asked questions, got clay on his expensive jeans and didn't seem to care. Simone felt something she hadn't felt in months. Not just happiness. Hope. Then Lily looked up from the wheel, clay-covered and grinning, and asked, Simone, why are your hands shaky? The studio went very quiet. Julian tensed beside her. Simone felt her heart rate spike. Lily. Julian started. It's okay, Simone said. She knelt down to Lily's level. I have a sickness. It makes my hands shake sometimes. The doctors are helping me, but it takes time. Lily's face went serious. Like when I had pneumonia last year and had to take yucky medicine? Sort of like that. But mine takes longer to get better. Does it hurt? Sometimes. Lily reached out with her clay-covered hand and touched Simone's arm. My mom says when things hurt, you should ask for hugs. Do you need a hug? Simone's throat closed up. She looked at this beautiful child, this stranger who somehow saw right through every wall she'd built, and nodded. Lily hugged her, getting clay all over both of them. It's gonna be okay, Lily whispered, like she was the adult. The medicine will work. You just gotta believe in it. Over Lily's shoulder, Simone met Julian's eyes. His expression was complicated. Concern, tenderness, something else she couldn't name. Thank you, sweetheart, Simone managed. That helps a lot. When Lily pulled back, she was smiling again. Can we finish my bowl now? Absolutely. They worked until noon. By the time Julian said they needed to go, lunch reservation, couldn't be late. Lily had created a wonky but wonderful bowl and declared Simone her new best friend. Can we come back tomorrow? Lily asked as Julian steered her toward the door. We'll come back soon, Julian promised. He looked at Simone. Thank you. For today. For being honest with her. She's easy to be honest with. Yeah. She has that effect on people. He hesitated. Are you free for dinner? This week sometime. All three of us. Lily wants to take you to her favorite pizza place. Simone should say no. Should maintain professional distance. Should not get attached to this man and his perfect daughter when her own future was a question mark. I'd love that, she said. After they left, Simone sat at her wheel for a long time, looking at Lily's bowl. Child had asked the question adults were too polite to voice. And somehow, answering it hadn't broken her. Maybe the truth wasn't as scary as she'd thought. Maybe some people could handle it. Her phone buzzed. Julian, she talked about you the whole way to lunch. Thank you for being so good with her. Simone, she's special. You're lucky. Julian, I know. And so is she. Getting to work with you. Simone stared at those words, feeling something dangerous blooming in her chest. This was supposed to be a business arrangement. A commission. Nothing personal. But somewhere between soup and clay and a 7-year-old's hug, it had become something else entirely. What did you think of Lily? Do kids really see what adults try to hide? And is Simone falling for Julian, or is he falling harder? Drop your comments below. The pizza place was exactly what Simone expected. Loud, colorful, filled with kids running between tables while parents pretended to have conversations. Lily had chosen a booth by the window and was currently explaining the entire menu to Simone like she was a tour guide. The pepperoni is good, but the veggie supreme is better because they use real vegetables, not the frozen kind. And their garlic knots are the best in the whole world. I'm not exaggerating. Dad, tell her. Best in the whole world, Julian confirmed, his eyes dancing with amusement. I've had garlic knots on 3 continents. These are superior. 3 continents. Simone raised an eyebrow. Show off. Professional necessity. I had to research development projects internationally before I settled in Asheville. And he picked here because of me, Lily said proudly. When I was little, he brought me here and I said the mountains looked like sleeping dragons. So he bought a house. Julian's ears went slightly pink. That's a simplified version of events. But true, Lily insisted. But true, he admitted, looking at Simone. She was 4. We'd just finalized the divorce. I was looking for a place that felt like possibility instead of endings. She said the mountains looked like dragons, and something clicked. So you built an empire because a 4-year-old liked dragons, Simone said. Best business decision I ever made. The server came, a college student who clearly knew them, greeting Lily by name, and took their order. 2 veggie supremes, garlic knots, something called a Lily special, that involved pineapple and jalapenos in a combination that made Simone's stomach hurt just thinking about it. "So," Lily said once the server left, propping her elbows on the table in a way that made Julian automatically reach over to adjust them. "Tell me about your family." "Lily," Julian warned. "Remember what we talked about. Personal questions." "It's fine," Simone said. "I've got a mom and a sister. My dad died when I was 12. Lily's face went solemn. "That's really sad. Do you miss him?" "Every day." "What was he like?" Nobody had asked Simone that in years. Most people said, "I'm sorry for your loss," and changed the subject, uncomfortable with grief. "He was funny," Simone said. "Told terrible jokes. He was a carpenter, built our whole house himself. And he taught me that making things with your hands was the closest thing to magic that exists in the real world." "That's why you make pottery," Lily said. It wasn't a question. "Yeah. That's why. He'd be proud of you." Simone's throat tightened. "I hope so." Julian's hand found hers under the table, squeezed once, then let go. The gesture was quick, private, but it steadied her. The food came in a glorious mess of cheese and garlic and chaos. Lily talked non-stop, telling stories about her school in Charleston, her best friend Emma, her mom's garden, her cat named Professor McGonagall. "You like Harry Potter?" Simone asked. "I love Harry Potter. I've read all the books 3 times. What house would you be in?" Lily didn't hesitate. "Ravenclaw. Emma says I'm Hufflepuff because I'm nice, but I'm smart too, so Ravenclaw." "What about you?" "Probably Gryffindor. I make a lot of reckless decisions." "Like what?" "Like taking on huge pottery commissions when I'm—" Simone stopped herself. "When I'm really busy." But Lily's eyes had sharpened. "You mean when you're sick?" "Lily." Julian started. "It's okay to say it," Lily said, looking between them. "My mom says pretending things aren't real doesn't make them go away. It just makes everyone tired from pretending." Out of the mouths of babes. "Your mom's right," Simone said quietly. "I have cancer. I'm in treatment. Some days are good, some days are bad. Today's a good day. Is that why you're skinny?" "Lily." Julian's face had gone red. But Simone laughed. "It's okay. Yes, that's part of it. The medicine makes it hard to eat sometimes." "You should try the garlic knots," Lily said seriously. "They make everything better." "I'll do that." Lily took a bite of her pineapple jalapeno monstrosity, chewed thoughtfully. "Are you gonna die?" The restaurant noise seemed to fade. Julian had gone very still beside her. "I don't know," Simone said honestly. "The doctors are doing everything they can. I'm doing everything I can. But sometimes we don't get to know how things will turn out." "That's scary." "Yeah. It really is. Does your family know?" And there it was. The question Simone had been avoiding. "No," she admitted. "I haven't told them yet." "Why not?" "Because." Simone paused, trying to find words a 7-year-old would understand. "Because sometimes we don't want to make the people we love scared. So we carry the scary things alone." Lily frowned. "But that means you're scared and alone. That's worse." "She's got a point," Julian said softly. "My mom always says families are for sharing the hard stuff," Lily continued. "That's what makes them families. Not just the fun parts." Simone felt tears prick her eyes. This child, this wise, beautiful child, had just cut through months of justification with simple truth. "You're pretty smart for 7 3/4, Simone managed. "I know." Lily grinned. "So when are you gonna tell them?" "I don't know. Soon though, right? Because what if—" Lily stopped herself, looked at her dad. "What if what?" Simone asked gently. Lily's voice got very small. What if something happens and you didn't get to say all the important stuff? Julian's hand found Simone's again under the table. This time he didn't let go. You're right, Simone said. I should tell them soon. This Sunday, Lily declared. You have dinner with your family on Sundays, right? Tell them then. How do you know I have Sunday dinners? You mentioned it at the studio. I remember things. Lily reached for another slice of pizza. Dad, can Simone come to the lake house this weekend? Before Sunday dinner? We could show her Copper and the mountain view and, Lily, Simone probably has plans. Actually, Simone heard herself say, I don't have plans. Julian looked at her, surprised. You don't have to. I know. But I'd like to. If the invitation's real. It's very real, he said quietly. Saturday. I could pick you up around 10. I can drive myself. I know you can. But let me do this. Please. Something in his voice made her nod. They finished dinner with Lily telling elaborate stories about her cat's adventures and debating which dragon species would be best for riding. When Julian paid the bill, refusing to let Simone contribute, Lily hugged her goodbye in the parking lot. I'm glad Dad found you, she whispered. You make him smile different. Different how? Real different. Not polite different. Before Simone could respond, Lily had skipped back to Julian's car, a Tesla that probably cost more than Simone made in 2 years. Julian walked Simone to her Honda, old and reliable and very not Tesla. I'm sorry if she was too pushy, he said. She gets these ideas, she's wonderful. And she's right. About all of it. The Sunday dinner thing. Yeah. Simone leaned against her car. I've been a coward. Thinking I was protecting them, but really just protecting myself from their reactions. You're not a coward. You're surviving. Maybe it's time to do more than survive. Julian stepped closer. Close enough that she could smell his cologne, something clean and expensive. Close enough to see the flecks of gray in his stubble. The way his eyes softened when he looked at her. Saturday, he said. 10 am. Wear something comfortable. And Simone. Yeah. I'm really glad I walked into your studio that day. Even though I'm a mess. You're not a mess. You're the most real person I've met in years. He hesitated, then leaned down and pressed a kiss to her forehead. Brief, gentle, devastating. Drive safe. He walked back to his car before she could respond. Simone sat in her Honda for 5 full minutes, fingers pressed to where his lips had touched her skin, feeling like something fundamental had shifted. She'd come to dinner expecting pizza and small talk. She was leaving with a decision made and something terrifyingly close to hope blooming in her chest. Sunday dinner. She'd tell them Sunday. But first, Saturday. The lake house. Julian. Lily. Copper the dog and mountain views and one more day of pretending that maybe, just maybe, she got to have this. Have you ever had a child tell you something you needed to hear? What do you think will happen at the lake house? And how will Simone's family react to the truth? Let us know in the comments. Friday night, Simone couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about Sunday. About telling her mother and sister that she'd been hiding cancer for 2 months. About the look on their faces when they realized she'd been lying every single day. T2 in the morning, she got up and started sketching. Drew plates and bowls until her hands cramped. Tried not to think about the fact that she was going to Julian's lake house in 8 hours. Tried not to think about that kiss on her forehead and what it meant. If it meant anything at all. T7. She gave up on sleep and showered. Stood in front of her closet for 20 minutes trying to decide what you wore to a millionaire's lake house when you were secretly dying and maybe falling for him. She settled on jeans and a soft yellow sweater, her hair in 2-strand twists, minimal makeup because the nausea was back and the thought of foundation made her stomach turn. Julian texted at 9:30. Julian, on my way. Coffee order. Simone, oat milk latte. You're learning, Julian. I pay attention. He arrived at exactly 10, driving a different car, a Range Rover this time, dark green. Lily was in the back seat, already bouncing. Simone. We're gonna have the best day. Kappa's gonna love you, and we can go on the boat, and Dad says we can make s'mores later. Breathe, sweetheart, Julian said, but he was smiling. He looked different today. Jeans, a Henley, work boots. Wealthy casual instead of wealthy professional. The drive to the lake house took 40 minutes, winding up into the mountains. Lily talked the entire time, pointing out landmarks, telling stories. Julian's hand rested on the center console, and twice Simone caught him glancing at her like he was checking to make sure she was really there. The lake house wasn't what Simone expected. She'd braced herself for something obscene. Marble columns, infinity pools, the kind of wealth that announced itself loudly. Instead, Julian pulled up to a sprawling cabin that looked like it had grown out of the mountainside. Cedar and stone and glass, modern but warm, perched above a private lake that reflected the sky like a mirror. This is... Simone stepped out of the car, turning in a slow circle. Julian, this is incredible. Wait till you see inside, Lily said, grabbing her hand. Come on. A golden retriever exploded through the front door the second Julian opened it, all wagging tail and excited barks. Copper down, Julian commanded, but the dog ignored him completely, making straight for Simone. He likes you, Lily announced. He doesn't like everyone. He didn't like Dad's business partner at all. Growled the whole time. Good judge of character, Simone said, scratching Copper behind the ears. The best, Julian agreed, watching her with that expression again. Soft, surprised, like she kept doing things that caught him off guard. The inside of the house was even better than the outside. Open concept, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the lake, a kitchen that made Simone's apartment look like a closet. But it wasn't cold or sterile. Books everywhere, Lily's drawings on the fridge, a blanket thrown over the couch like someone actually lived here. Lily designed her own room, Julian said. Want the tour? The tour took an hour because Lily insisted on showing Simone every single thing. Her room, purple walls, bookshelves, a window seat overlooking the lake, the art studio Julian had built, for when Lily wants to paint, the dock with the boat, the fire pit. Dad built all of this for us, Lily said proudly. So I'd always want to come back. It's working, Simone said, looking at Julian. I'd never want to leave. Something flickered in his eyes. Then don't. The words hung in the air, meaning more than they should. Okay, Lily announced. Boat time. The boat was smaller than Simone expected, not a yacht, just a pontoon boat perfect for lazy lake days. Julian drove while Lily pointed out fish and turtles and made up stories about the houses they passed. Simone sat in the sun, feeling it warm on her face, and for the first time in months, she felt almost normal. Not sick. Not dying. Just a woman on a boat with people who made her laugh. You okay? Julian asked quietly, Lily distracted by something in the water. Yeah. This is... Simone smiled. This is really nice. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for coming. His hand found hers, threaded their fingers together. I know this is complicated. The timing, everything you're dealing with. But I want you to know, I'm not going anywhere. You don't know what you're signing up for. I know enough. He squeezed her hand. You're strong, talented, beautiful, and you make my daughter laugh. That's more than enough. I might not make it, Julian. Then we'll deal with that if it happens. But right now, you're here. And I want to spend time with you. If you want that too. Before Simone could answer, Lily shouted, Dad, can we swim? Water's too cold, baby. But Simone's never seen the rope swing. Julian looked at Simone, eyebrow raised. Have you ever seen a rope swing? Not since I was 12. Then we're stopping. They anchored near a massive oak tree on the shore, its branches stretching over the water. A thick rope hung from the biggest branch, a wooden seat attached. I'll go first, Lily announced, scrambling onto the dock they'd pulled up to. She grabbed the rope, backed up, and launched herself over the water with a shriek of pure joy before dropping in. She surfaced laughing. Simone. Your turn. The water's freezing, Julian warned. I'm from North Carolina. I know cold water. Simone stood, pulled off her sweater, revealed the tank top underneath. Julian's eyes went dark. Simone. She saw what he was looking at. The port in her chest, visible at her collarbone. The subtle line where they'd inserted it for chemotherapy. It's okay, she said quietly. Lily already knows, remember? I know, but... He stopped himself. Be careful. She wasn't sure if he meant the rope swing or her heart. The water was absolutely freezing, and absolutely perfect. Simone surfaced gasping and laughing, Lily cheering from the dock. Again, Lily demanded. They spent the next hour taking turns, even Julian finally joining in, his shirt clinging to his chest in ways that made Simone very aware of exactly how attracted to him she was. This was dangerous. Getting attached to him, to Lily, to this life that felt like a dream she'd have to wake up from. But God, it felt good to dream. Later, wrapped in towels on the dock while Lily and Copper played in the grass, Julian said, "Tell me about Sunday." "What about it? Are you scared?" Simone was quiet for a long moment. "Terrified. My mom's going to be devastated. My sister's going to be furious, I didn't tell her sooner. And I'm going to have to watch them try to be strong while they're breaking apart." "Want me to come with you?" She looked at him, startled. "You'd do that? If it would help. I barely know you. You know me well enough to tell me you have cancer. To come to my house. To let me hold your hand." His thumb brushed across her knuckles. "That's not nothing, Simone." "No," she said softly. "It's not nothing. So let me be there. If you want." She should say no. Should keep these parts of her life separate. But the thought of facing her family's grief alone, of carrying that weight by herself. "Okay," she whispered. "If you really mean it." "I really mean it." Lily ran over then, Copper at her heels. "Dad. It's More's time." The rest of the evening was perfect. They built a fire, roasted marshmallows, told stories. Lily fell asleep against Simone's shoulder around 8, chocolate on her face, completely content. "She doesn't do this with many people," Julian said quietly, looking at his daughter. "The instant trust thing. She's usually more reserved. She's special. She sees something in you. Something real." He paused. "I see it too." Simone looked at him across the fire, this man who'd walked into her studio 3 weeks ago and somehow become essential. "What do you see?" "Someone who's been carrying everything alone for too long. Someone who deserves to be cared for." He stood, held out his hand. "Come on. Let's get her to bed. Then we need to talk." Her heart jumped. "About what?" "About the fact that I'm falling for you," he said simply. "And I need to know if that's okay." Simone's breath caught. Julian carried Lily inside, tucked her into bed with practiced ease. When he came back out, Simone was still sitting by the fire, trying to process what he'd said. He sat beside her, close enough that their shoulders touched. "I know the timing is terrible," he said. "I know you're dealing with cancer and treatment and family drama. I know I'm probably the last complication you need." "You're not a complication." "Then what am I?" Simone turned to face him fully. "You're the first person who's made me feel like something other than sick in 2 months. You're kind and patient and your daughter is perfect. And yes, I'm terrified, because what if I don't make it? What if I let you care about me, and then I die and hurt you and Lily? And what if you live?" Julian's hand cupped her face. "What if this works? What if the treatment succeeds and you get years, decades even? Do we throw away something real because we're scared of what might happen? I don't know how to do this. How to date someone while we figure it out together. One day at a time. No pressure, no expectations. Just, let me be here. Let me care about you." His thumb brushed her cheekbone. "Please." Simone leaned into his touch, eyes closing. "Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Julian kissed her then. Soft and careful and devastating. Tasting like chocolate and marshmallow and promise. His hand gentle in her hair, his other hand at her waist, holding her like she was precious. When they pulled apart, Simone was crying. Too much? Julian asked, concerned. No. Perfect. She laughed through tears. I didn't think I'd get to have this. Any of this. You get to have all of it, he said fiercely. You hear me? You get to have love and joy and a future. Cancer doesn't get to take that away. I'm still telling my family tomorrow. And I'll be right there with you. Simone kissed him again, harder this time, pouring everything she couldn't say into it. Fear and hope and gratitude and something that felt dangerously close to love. When Julian drove her home that night, their hands linked the entire way. Simone felt like she was standing on the edge of something huge. Tomorrow would be hard. Sunday would be brutal. But tonight, she'd been kissed by a man who saw all of her. The sick parts, the scared parts, the parts still fighting, and wanted her anyway. That was enough to face anything. Have you ever had someone show up for you during your hardest moment? How do you think Simone's mother will react? And is Julian moving too fast, or is this exactly what Simone needs? Share your thoughts. Sunday arrived like a storm. Simone had been watching on the horizon for weeks. She changed outfits 4 times before Julian picked her up at 3. Settled on a simple green dress because her mother always said green brought out her eyes, and she needed every advantage she could get. Julian arrived in jeans and a button-down, holding flowers. For your mom. Lily insisted. You told Lily where we're going? She asked. I don't lie to her. He studied Simone's face. We can cancel. Say you're sick, which isn't even a lie, and do this another day. No. I need to do this. She took the flowers. Thank you for coming. Always. The drive to her mother's house took 15 minutes but felt like 15 seconds. Julian kept glancing at her, finally reaching over to take her hand. Whatever happens, I've got you. Simone squeezed back, held on like a lifeline. Her mother's house looked the same as always. Flowers blooming in the yard. Rose car in the driveway. Warm light spilling from the windows. Home. About to become a battleground. Ready? Julian asked. No. Let's go anyway. Her mother opened the door before they reached it, face already shifting from welcoming to confused when she saw Julian. Baby. Who's this? Ma, this is Julian Harding. Julian, my mother, Patricia Winters. Mrs. Winters. Julian offered his hand and the flowers. It's an honor. Simone talks about you constantly. Her mother's confusion deepened, but her manners held. Come in, come in. Simone, you didn't say you were bringing company. Ro appeared from the kitchen, dish towel in hand. Who's? She stopped, eyes going wide. Is that Julian Harding? Like, billionaire Julian Harding. Millionaire, Julian corrected quietly. And just Julian is fine. We need to talk, Simone said, her voice shaking. All of us. Before dinner. Her mother's face went serious. Simone? What's wrong? They sat in the living room, Mama and Ro on the couch, Simone and Julian in chairs across from them. Kappa's fur would have been easier to navigate than this silence. I've been lying to you, Simone started. For 2 months. Lying about what? Ro's voice was sharp. I have cancer. Breast cancer. Stage 3. I've been in treatment since March. The world stopped. Her mother's face crumpled. Ro went white. No, Mama whispered. No, baby, no. I'm so sorry. 2 months. Ro's voice cracked. You've been dealing with cancer alone for 2 months? I didn't want to scare you. Scare us. Ro stood, hands shaking. Simone, we're your family. You don't get to make that choice for us. Rowena, sit down, their mother said quietly. But her eyes never left Simone. Why didn't you tell us? Because you'd look at me exactly how you're looking at me now. Like I'm already gone. Julian's hand found hers. Her mother noticed. How long have you known him? 3 weeks. And he knows, but we didn't. It's not like that. Then what's it like? Her mother's voice broke. Because my daughter has cancer and told a stranger before her own mother. I'm not a stranger, Julian said quietly. Not anymore. What would you do if someone you loved hid something this big? Is Simone's family being too harsh, or do they have every right to be angry? Comment below. The silence in the living room was suffocating. Simone watched her mother's face cycle through emotions. Shock, hurt, anger, fear, all of it crashing together until tears started streaming down her cheeks. Ma. Simone started. Don't. Her mother held up a hand. Just, don't right now. Ro was pacing, hands in her hair. Stage 3. Stage 3. Jesus, Simone. That's. She couldn't finish. I know what it is. Do you? Ro spun to face her. Because it sounds like you've been pretending it's nothing. Hiding it like it's some secret you can keep until it just magically goes away. I wasn't pretending it's nothing. I was trying to protect you. From what? From being there for you. Ro's voice cracked. I'm a physical therapist, Simone. I work with sick people every single day. You think I can't handle my own sister having cancer? It's not about whether you can handle it. Then what's it about? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you didn't trust us enough to let us in. That's not fair. None of this is fair. Ro shouted. You have cancer. You've been doing chemo alone. Missing family dinners because you were too sick to come but lying about why. How is any of that fair? Rowena. Their mother's voice cut through the room. That's enough. No, it's not enough. She lied to us for 2 months, Mama. 2 months of treatments and appointments and being scared, and she shut us out completely. Ro's face was wet with tears now. We could have helped. We could have been there. I didn't want to be a burden. A burden. Her mother finally looked at her, really looked at her. Baby, do you think so little of us? That we'd see you fighting for your life as a burden? You already have so much going on. Ma, you're dealing with your blood pressure, and Ro, you just got promoted, and I didn't want. Stop. Her mother stood, walked over, and knelt in front of Simone's chair. Look at me. Simone met her eyes, saw the devastation there. I buried your father, Mama said quietly. Pancreatic cancer. 8 months from diagnosis to death. You were 12, but you remember. Of course, I remember. Then you remember how it felt. Watching him get sicker. Feeling helpless. Her mother's hands gripped Simone's. Now imagine going through that again, but this time it's my daughter. My baby. And imagine finding out she went through 2 months of it alone because she thought I couldn't handle it. The words hit like physical blows. I'm sorry, Simone whispered. Sorry doesn't give me back those 2 months. Sorry doesn't let me drive you to appointments or hold your hair when you're sick or just sit with you when you're scared. Her mother's voice broke. You stole that from me. From us. I know. Simone was crying now, ugly tears she couldn't stop. I know, and I'm so sorry. Julian's hand tightened on hers. The only thing keeping her grounded, Ro had stopped pacing, was standing with her arms wrapped around herself. What's your prognosis? The oncologist says if the treatment works, if. Ro's voice went sharp. What are the odds? 60% 5-year survival for stage 3. The number hung in the air like a death sentence. 60%, her mother repeated hollowly. 40% chance my daughter dies in the next 5 years, and I've already missed 2 months of whatever time we have. Don't talk like that. Like what? Like I'm losing you. Her mother stood abruptly, walked to the window. That's what this feels like, Simone. Like you're already halfway gone and you didn't even let us fight for you. I'm fighting. Every day, I'm fighting. Alone. Rose's voice rose again. You're fighting alone when you have a family who would do anything for you. I have Julian, Simone said quietly. Wrong thing to say. Rose's eyes went cold. You've known him 3 weeks. He's been there for me. Because we didn't even know we needed to be there. Rose gestured at Julian. No offense to you, but you're a stranger. We're her family. None taken, Julian said calmly. But I'm also the person who's driven her to appointments when she was too sick to drive herself. Who's made sure she eats when the nausea is bad. Who's held her when she's scared at 2 in the morning. The room went very quiet. Is that true? Mama asked, turning to face Simone. You've been that sick. Simone nodded miserably. And you called him instead of us. I couldn't call you. If I called you, I'd have to tell you, and I wasn't ready. So you let a man you barely know take care of you instead. Her mother's voice was flat. A white man with money who probably sees you as some kind of charity project. Ma. Simone stood, fury cutting through guilt. That's not what this is. Then what is it? Because it looks like you picked a stranger over your own blood. I picked someone who didn't look at me like I was dying. The words exploded out of her. Someone who saw me as a person, not a tragedy. Someone who made me feel like I was still alive instead of just waiting to die. The silence that followed was deafening. Julian stood. I should go. No. Simone grabbed his hand. Please don't. Simone, your family needs to talk. Without me here. I need you here. And we need our daughter, her mother said coldly. Alone. Simone looked between Julian and her family, feeling like she was being torn in half. It's okay, Julian said softly, squeezing her hand. I'll wait outside. Take all the time you need. He kissed her forehead, quick, gentle, and walked out, leaving Simone alone with her mother's hurt and her sister's anger and the wreckage of trust she'd spent 2 months destroying. Is he why you finally told us? Rose asked. Because you're dating him and couldn't hide it anymore? No. I told you because I was tired of lying. Because Lily, his daughter, asked when I was going to tell my family, and I realized I was being a coward. His daughter knows too. Her mother's laugh was bitter. A 7-year-old knows my daughter has cancer, but I don't. That's what my life has become. I'm sorry, Simone said again, knowing it wasn't enough. I'm so sorry. What do you need? Her mother asked finally. For treatment. For appointments. What do you need from us? I just need you to forgive me. I can't do that right now. Her mother's voice cracked. I love you more than my own life. But right now, I can't look at you without feeling like you don't trust me. Like I failed you somehow, made you think you had to go through hell alone. You didn't fail me. Then why, baby? Why shut us out? Simone didn't have an answer that would make it better. They talked for another hour. Painful, raw, honest conversation that left everyone crying. Rose demanded doctors' names, treatment schedules, prognosis details. Mama just held Simone's hand and wept. By the time Simone walked outside, it was dark. Julian was sitting on the porch steps, stood immediately when he saw her face. How bad? They hate me. They don't hate you. They're scared. He pulled her into his arms, let her cry against his chest. They'll come around. What if they don't? They will. Because they love you. And love doesn't disappear just because someone makes a mistake. Simone pulled back, looked up at him. You still want to be part of this mess? More than ever, he said simply. And somehow, standing in the wreckage of the worst conversation of her life, Simone believed him. Has a family fight ever changed your relationships forever? Can trust be rebuilt after something like this? And is Julian really in this for the long haul? Tell us what you think. Tuesday morning came too early and too cruel. Simone sat in the oncology center waiting room at 6:30 a.m., Julian beside her with coffee he'd stopped for even though she couldn't drink it. The nausea had started before she even woke up, her body anticipating the poison it was about to receive. "You didn't have to come," she said for the third time. "And yet here I am," Julian replied, squeezing her hand. The waiting room was nearly empty. Just an older man reading a newspaper and a woman about Simone's age staring blankly at the television. Cancer didn't discriminate. It just took. Her phone buzzed. She looked at the screen, felt her heart sink. "Ro?" Julian asked. "Ma." "Asking which hospital I'm at." "You didn't tell them." "I texted yesterday. They didn't respond." Simone typed back the address, hit send, tried not to hope. "They're probably not coming. Give them time." Rachel appeared in the doorway. "Simone? We're ready for you." The infusion room was familiar now in the worst way. Recliners arranged in rows, for poles like metal sentinels, the smell of antiseptic and something else. Fear, maybe. The accumulated dread of everyone who'd sat in these chairs fighting for their lives. Simone took her usual seat by the window. Julian pulled up a chair beside her, while Rachel prepped the four. "How are you feeling today?" Rachel asked, her kindness almost painful. "Like I want to be anywhere but here." "That's honest. I appreciate honest." Rachel found the port in Simone's chest, worked with practiced efficiency. "Your friend can stay the whole time if you want. Some people prefer company." "He's staying," Simone said, not looking at Julian. "Good. Company helps." The needle went in. The drip started. And Simone settled in for 3 hours of watching poison save her life. Julian read to her from his phone, news articles, funny tweets, a story about Lily's school play. Kept her distracted, kept her grounded. When the nausea hit hard around hour 2, he held the basin while she retched, wiped her face with a cool cloth, didn't flinch. "You don't have to do this," she whispered when the wave passed. "I know. Most people run. I'm not most people." He brushed hair from her forehead. "And you're worth staying for." Simone was about to respond when voices carried from the waiting room. Familiar voices. Her mother appeared in the doorway, row right behind her. Simone's breath caught. Mama looked like she hadn't slept. Eyes red, face drawn, but she was here. They were both here. "Baby," Mama said quietly, and crossed the room in 3 steps. She took Simone's free hand, the one without the 4, and held it like a lifeline. Didn't say anything else. Just held on. Ro stood at the foot of the chair, arms crossed, face unreadable. "How long does this take?" "Hour and a half left," Simone managed. "Okay." Ro pulled up another chair, sat down. "Then we stay for an hour and a half." "You don't have to. Stop telling us what we have to do," Ro said, voice sharp but eyes wet. "We're here because we want to be. Because we should have been here 2 months ago." "I'm sorry. We know." Mama squeezed her hand. "We're still angry. Still hurt. But you're our family, and family shows up. Even when it's hard." Julian stood quietly, started to move away to give them space. "Stay," Mama said, surprising everyone. She looked at him properly for the first time. "You've been here for my daughter when I wasn't. That means something. Mrs. Winters. Patricia. Call me Patricia." She studied him with the intensity only mothers possess. "You care about her." It wasn't a question. "Yes, ma'am. Very much." "And your intentions?" "Ma." Simone's face went hot despite the nausea. "I'm serious. You're white, you're wealthy, my daughter's vulnerable. I need to know this isn't some. It's not." Julian's voice was firm. "I care about Simone. Not because she needs help. Not because I'm trying to save anyone. Because she's brilliant and strong and makes me want to be better. Because my daughter lights up when she talks about her. Because I wake up thinking about her and go to sleep hoping she's okay." The room was very quiet. "That's a start," Mama said finally. "But if you hurt her, you'll destroy me. I understand. And you'd be right to." Something in Mama's expression softened slightly. Sit back down. Tell me about this daughter who knows my child has cancer. The next hour was surreal. Julian talked about Lily, how they'd met Simone, the pottery project, her insistence that families share hard things. Ro asked clinical questions about treatment protocols, argued with Simone about her oncologist's approach until Rachel had to intervene. Mama just held Simone's hand and watched her daughter with eyes full of love and fear and forgiveness that hadn't quite landed yet. When the infusion finished, Simone could barely stand. The room spun. Her stomach rebelled. Julian caught her on one side, Ro on the other. "I've got her," Ro said. "So do I," Julian replied. They looked at each other across Simone, some wordless communication passing between them. "We both got her," Ro said finally. "Let's get her home." But when they reached the parking lot, Mama stopped them. "Not her apartment. She's coming home. To her real home." "Ma, I'm fine." "You're not fine. You just had chemotherapy and you're about to spend the next 48 hours sicker than a dog." Mama's voice left no room for argument. "You're coming home where I can take care of you properly." "I have to work. Your studio can wait," Ro said. "You're coming home." Simone looked at Julian helplessly. "They're right," he said gently. "Let them take care of you." "What about you?" "I'll check on you tomorrow. After you've rested." He kissed her forehead, whispered, "I'm not going anywhere. But right now, you need your family." They drove her to Mama's house in Ro's car, Julian following in his Range Rover. Set her up in her old bedroom, the one that still had posters from high school and pottery she'd made as a teenager. Mama brought ginger tea, crackers, cool cloths. Ro sat on the edge of the bed and finally let herself cry. "I'm so mad at you," she whispered. "And so scared. And I don't know how to be both at the same time." "I'm sorry," Simone said, taking her sister's hand. "For all of it. You don't get to do this alone anymore. Understand? We're in this together now. Okay?" "I mean it, Simone. Doctor's appointments, treatment days, bad days, good days, all of it. We're here." "I know." Ro wiped her eyes. "Julian seems decent. For a rich white guy." "Despite everything," Simone laughed. "That's your bar. It's a start. He looks at you like you hung the moon. That's worth something." Ro paused. "You love him." "I barely know him." "That wasn't the question." Simone closed her eyes. "I think I could. If I let myself. If I survive long enough." "You're going to survive," Ro said fiercely. "You hear me? You're going to beat this and marry that man and make pottery until you're 90. You can't promise that. Watch me." Mama appeared in the doorway. "Rowena, let your sister rest." "Simone, you need anything?" "No, ma'am. Just tired." "Then sleep. We'll be here when you wake up." As Simone drifted off, sick and scared but surrounded by family, she heard her mother and sister talking in the hallway. "She really loves him," Ro said. "I know," Mama replied. "God help them both." Simone fell asleep thinking about Julian's hands, Lily's laugh, and the terrifying possibility that she might actually have something worth fighting for. Worth surviving for if her body would just cooperate. "Oh, you think Simone's family did the right thing bringing her home? Can Julian and her family learn to work together? And what happens when the treatment stops working? Drop your thoughts below. 2 weeks felt like 2 years. Simone spent them at her mother's house, letting herself be cared for in a way she hadn't allowed since her father died. Mama cooked meals she could actually keep down. Ro showed up after work with medical journals, cross-referencing treatment options like she could cure cancer through sheer determination. And Julian came every day. Sometimes with Lily, who brought drawings and stories and an unwavering belief that Simone would be fine because the medicine is working, I can tell. Sometimes alone, late at night, when Simone couldn't sleep and texted him at 2 a.m. He'd show up with tea and conversation, sitting in her childhood bedroom talking until dawn. They hadn't kissed since that night at the lake house. Simone was too sick, too scared, too aware that the scan results could change everything. The morning of the scan, Julian picked her up at 7. You didn't have to do this, Simone said, climbing into the Range Rover. You've said that approximately 400 times in the past 2 weeks, Julian replied. My answer hasn't changed. My family could have taken me. Your mother has a doctor's appointment this morning. Blood pressure check, remember? And Rose covering someone's shift at the hospital. He reached over, took her hand. Besides, I want to be here. The imaging center was cold and impersonal. Simone changed into a gown, lay on a table while machines whirred and clicked around her, mapping the battleground inside her body. Julian waited in the lobby, and when she came out 45 minutes later, he stood immediately. How'd it go? Fine. Results in 72 hours. She tried to smile. So just 3 days of existential dread. Want to get breakfast? I can't eat. Want to sit somewhere beautiful while I eat, and you pretend to be interested in food? Despite herself, she laughed. Yeah. Okay. He drove them to the Biltmore estate, parked near the gardens. They walked through roses and hydrangeas, the massive house looming in the background like something from another century. I proposed to Claire here, Julian said suddenly. Simone looked at him, surprised. He almost never talked about his ex-wife. We were 26. Thought we had everything figured out. He stopped walking, stared at a fountain. I was wrong about a lot of things back then. But I was right about wanting to build a family. I just picked the wrong person to build it with. You have Lily. That's not nothing. Lily's everything. But Claire and I, we were never in love. Not really. We were comfortable. Compatible on paper. But there was no. He trailed off, looking at Simone. No fire. No feeling like I'd found someone who saw all of me and stayed anyway. Simone's heart was beating too fast. Julian. I know the timing is terrible. I know you're waiting on scan results and dealing with cancer, and the last thing you need is me making declarations. He took both her hands. But I need you to know, whatever those results say, I'm here. If the treatment's working, I'm here. If it's not, I'm here. If you need to switch protocols or get a second opinion or fly to another country for experimental treatment, I'm here. You can't promise that. I absolutely can. I have resources, Simone. Money, connections, access to the best oncologists in the world. Let me use them. Let me help you fight this. I don't want your money. It's not about money. It's about doing everything possible to make sure you survive. Because he stopped, took a breath. Because I'm in love with you. And I know it's fast and maybe it's crazy, but I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Simone stared at him, the words echoing in her head. I'm in love with you. You don't know me well enough to love me, she whispered. I know you're strong and talented and you make pottery that looks like mountains. I know you love your family, even when they make you crazy. I know you're terrified, but you show up anyway. I know my daughter adores you, and Lily's the best judge of character I've ever met. He cupped her face. I know enough. What if I die? Then I'll have loved you while you were here. That's not nothing, Simone. That's everything. She was crying now, couldn't help it. This is a terrible time to fall in love. Is there ever a good time? Probably not. She laughed through tears. You're really in love with me? Completely. Hopelessly. Terrifyingly in love with you. I think I'm in love with you too, she admitted. And it scares me to death. Good scared or bad scared? Both. Julian pulled her close, held her while she cried in a garden that probably cost more to maintain than her yearly income. And for the first time since the diagnosis, Simone let herself imagine a future. Not just survival. A life, with this man who'd crashed into her world and refused to leave. That night, Simone couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about Julian's words. About resources and possibilities, and the fact that she'd been so focused on just surviving that she hadn't considered there might be other options. Midnight. she called him. "Hey," he answered immediately, voice alert. "You okay? Tell me about these resources. These connections." A pause. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" "I'm saying maybe I've been too proud. Too scared to ask for help that might actually make a difference." She took a breath. "If you know oncologists who specialize in aggressive breast cancer, I want to talk to them. Get a second opinion. See if there's something my doctors are missing. I'll make calls tomorrow. First thing." "Julian." "Yeah. Thank you. For not letting me do this alone." "Never alone," he said softly. "Not anymore." 72 hours later, Simone sat in her oncologist's office with her mother, Ro, and Julian. Dr. Martinez looked at them over her glasses. "Your scans show significant reduction in tumor size. The treatment is working, Simone." The room erupted. Mama started crying. Ro grabbed Simone's hand so hard it hurt. Julian's eyes went bright with tears he didn't bother hiding. "How significant?" Simone managed. 30% reduction. "At this rate, you're on track for potential surgical removal in another 3 to 4 months, followed by radiation." Dr. Martinez smiled. "It's good news. Very good news." "But not cured," Simone said, needing to hear it clearly. "Not cured. But responding to treatment, which is what we want to see. You're fighting, and your body's fighting with you." After the appointment, they stood in the parking lot, sun bright overhead, world somehow more vivid than before. "We're celebrating," Ro declared. "Tonight. Dinner. All of us." "All of us?" Mama asked, looking pointedly at Julian. "All of us," Ro confirmed. "He's part of this now. Might as well feed him." Julian looked at Simone, question in his eyes. "Sunday dinner," Simone said. "You and Lily. If you're ready to officially meet the family." "I proposed to you in a garden this morning," he said. "I think I can handle Sunday dinner." "You didn't propose." "Not yet," he said, grinning. "But I'm working up to it." Mama's eyebrows shot up. "Excuse me." "Ma, not now. Sunday dinner," Mama said firmly, looking at Julian. Your daughter, 6 p.m. We'll see if you survive pot roast and interrogation before we discuss proposals." "Yes, ma'am," Julian said, completely serious, as they drove away. Julian taking Simone home while her family headed to work. Simone felt something unfamiliar settling in her chest. Hope. Real, solid, terrifying hope. The treatment was working. She had a future, weeks, months, maybe years. And she had this man beside her, this family rallying around her, this 7-year-old who believed in medicine and magic equally. "What are you thinking?" Julian asked. "That I might actually get to finish your pottery commission," she said. "That's what you're thinking about? Pottery. It's what I do." She smiled. "Create things that last. Things that become family heirlooms. Things that matter." Julian raised her hand to his lips, kissed her knuckles. "You matter. More than any pottery. Even dinner sets for 12. Even those." Simone leaned her head against his shoulder, watched Asheville roll past the window, and let herself believe in impossible things, like survival, like love, like futures that included Sunday dinners and pottery studios and a man who'd shown up when she needed him most and refused to leave. "Julian." "Yeah. I love you too. Just so you know." His smile could have lit the whole city. "I know. But hearing it never gets old. Have you ever had good news that changed everything? Do you think Simone and Julian are moving too fast? And what will happen at Sunday dinner? Share your thoughts. Sunday dinner was chaos in the best possible way. Lily arrived with a bouquet of wildflowers she'd picked herself and a million questions. "Is this where Simone grew up? Can I see her room? Do you have a cat? Simone said you make the best cornbread in the whole world. Is that true?" Mama fell in love immediately. "Child, come help me in the kitchen." We need someone to taste test the mac and cheese. Lily skipped after her like she'd been coming to Sunday dinners her whole life, leaving Julian standing awkwardly in the living room with Ro. Sit, Ro commanded, pointing at the couch. We need to talk. Rowena, Simone started. You stay out of this. Ro fixed Julian with her best physical therapist stare, the one she used on stubborn patients. You love my sister? Yes. You planning to stick around when treatment gets harder? Because it will get harder. I know. And yes. What about when she loses her hair? When she's too sick to get out of bed? When she's angry and scared and pushing everyone away? Still here, Julian said calmly. You're white and rich. You could have anyone. Why my sister? Because she's brilliant and brave and she makes me want to be better. Because Lily loves her. Because I've never met anyone more real. He leaned forward. And because I don't care about Easy. I care about her. Rose studied him for a long moment. You hurt her. I know 17 different ways to make an injury look accidental. Noted. Good. Rose's expression softened slightly. She's different with you. Lighter. I haven't seen her smile like that since before Dad died. She talks about him sometimes. About making things with her hands because of him. He'd like you, Rose said quietly. He always said Simone needed someone who wasn't afraid of her fire. From the kitchen came Lily's delighted laughter and Mama's warm voice teaching her to mix cornbread batter. Dinner was loud and perfect. Lily charmed everyone, talking about pottery and dragons and school. Mama told embarrassing stories about Simone's childhood. Ro argued with Julian about development projects until he promised to hire more local contractors. After dinner, Simone found her mother in the kitchen washing dishes. He's good for you, Mama said without preamble. You think so? I see how you look at him. Like you believe in tomorrow again. Mama dried a plate carefully. That little girl needs a mother figure. You ready for that? Ma, we've been together a month. And you're in love. Don't pretend you're not. Mama turned to face her. Cancer doesn't give you the luxury of slow, baby. If you love him, if you want this, you take it. You hold on tight and you don't let go. What if I die? What if you live? Mama cupped her face. What if you beat this and marry that man and raise that beautiful child and make pottery until you're old and gray? What if you get everything you're too scared to hope for? Simone's eyes filled with tears. I almost lost you, Mama whispered. Because you thought you had to be strong alone. Don't make that mistake again. Let him love you. Let us love you. Let yourself be loved. In the living room, Lily was showing Ro pictures on Julian's phone while he pretended to be interested in a basketball game. This could be her life. This family she was building from clay and hope and love. Okay, Simone whispered. I'll try. That's my girl. Later, Julian walked Simone to his car while Lily stayed inside begging Mama for the cornbread recipe. Your family's amazing, he said. They liked you. Ro threatened me with 17 types of injuries. That means she approves. Simone leaned against his chest. Thank you for coming. For being patient with them. They're part of you. I love all of you. He paused. Lily asked if you could come to her school play next month. In Charleston. That's huge. Yeah. She wants you there. Wants you to meet her mom. See her other life. Julian's arms tightened around her. I want you in every part of my life, Simone. All of it. Even the messy cancer parts. Especially those. Simone pulled back to look at him. I'm starting to believe we might actually make it. We will make it, he said firmly. Treatment's working. You're getting stronger. We have time. Promise. I promise to fight for every second we get. The rest is up to the universe. She kissed him then, deep and sure, tasting like hope and possibility. When Lily finally emerged, carrying a container of cornbread and chattering about seeing Simone at the studio tomorrow, Simone felt something settle in her chest. This was family. Not just blood, but chosen. Built from Sunday dinners and pottery lessons and love fierce enough to face down cancer. And for the first time since the diagnosis, she believed she'd live to see it grow. Oh, you believe in love that happens fast? What did you think of Mama's advice? And are you ready for the ending? Comment below. 6 months later, Simone stood in her studio surrounded by pottery. 12 complete place settings. Each piece unique, mountains and rivers, dragons winding through flowers, colors that shifted from sunrise gold to twilight purple. 6 months of work, of steady hands and hope that had finally stopped feeling fragile. The surgery had been 3 months ago. Clean margins. No remaining cancer. Radiation finished last week, her skin still tender but healing. She was in remission. The words still felt foreign. Like speaking a language she'd only read about but never expected to use. "It's beautiful," Julian said from the doorway. Simone turned, found him watching her with that expression he got sometimes, like she was the most extraordinary thing he'd ever seen. "It's finally done," she said. "Took longer than I planned. Worth the wait." He walked closer, picked up a plate with a dragon curled around the rim. "Lily's going to cry when she sees this. Happy tears, I hope. The happiest." He set the plate down carefully, reached for her hand. "Can you take a break? There's something I want to show you." "Julian, I have to pack these. It can wait an hour. Trust me." She let him lead her outside, into the September sunshine. The River Arts District was alive with tourists and artists, the French Broad River glittering in the afternoon light. They walked along the river path, hand in hand, comfortable silence between them. "How'd your scan go yesterday?" Julian asked. "Clean. Dr. Martinez says I'm officially in remission. 6-month mark." He stopped walking, pulled her into his arms right there on the path. "Thank God." "Hey." She pulled back to see his face, found his eyes wet. "I'm okay. We're okay." "I know. He shook his head. 6 months ago, I didn't know if we'd get here. But we did. I'm still here." "You're still here," he repeated, like a prayer. They kept walking until they reached a section of riverfront Simone didn't recognize. New construction, but beautiful, reclaimed brick and glass, gardens already established. "What is this?" she asked. "New Arts Complex. Opening next month." Julian stopped in front of a large corner space, windows facing the river. "This studio's still available." Simone looked through the windows. It was 3 times the size of her current space. Natural light everywhere. Room for multiple wheels, a proper kiln room, even a gallery section. "It's gorgeous, but I can't afford. It's yours if you want it." She turned to face him. "Julian, before you argue, listen." He took both her hands. "I own the building. This is my project. And I want artists who'll actually use the space, not just people who can pay the most rent. Your current rate, 5-year lease, first right of renewal. That's too much. It's business. You're talented, you have a following, you'll draw other artists and customers. It's a smart investment." "You're a terrible liar." "Fine. I want you here because I'm building my office on the 3rd floor and I like the idea of you being 1 floor below me." His smile was crooked, vulnerable. "I'm selfish. Sue me." Simone looked at the space again, at the river beyond, at the future she could build here. "There's a catch, isn't there?" "Just one." Julian dropped to one knee right there on the riverfront path. Simone's breath stopped. "I bought this building 6 months ago," he said quietly. "Right after your diagnosis. Because even when I was terrified you might not make it, I couldn't stop planning a future that included you." "Julian, let me finish." He pulled a small box from his pocket. "I love you. Lily loves you. Copper loves you, though he loves everyone, so that's less meaningful. Your family's already adopted me. And I can't imagine spending another day without knowing you're going to be in my life permanently." He opened the box. The ring was perfect, a sapphire the color of the mountains, surrounded by small diamonds that caught the light like water. Marry me, Simone. Not because of cancer or fear or any of the hard stuff we've been through. Marry me because I love you. Because we make each other better. Because Lily wants you to be her stepmom more than she's ever wanted anything. Because I want to spend the rest of my life watching you make beautiful things and arguing about what constitutes good pizza and growing old together. Tears were streaming down Simone's face. You planned this speech. I've been practicing for 3 months. Is it working? You really bought a building for me. I'd buy you the whole city if you asked. But I'm hoping a studio and a proposal will do. Simone looked at this man. This wealthy, patient, ridiculous man who'd walked into her studio on a spring morning and refused to leave even when everything was falling apart. Yes, she whispered. Yeah. Yes. I'll marry you. I'll take the studio. I'll be Lily's stepmom. All of it. Yes. Julian stood, slid the ring onto her finger, and kissed her like they weren't standing in public with tourists taking pictures and artists cheering from nearby studios. When they finally pulled apart, Simone was laughing through tears. Lily knows, doesn't she? She picked the ring. Made me promise to propose before her birthday so you could come to her party as her real, almost mom. Julian brushed tears from her cheeks. That okay. That's perfect. Her phone buzzed. Then buzzed again. And again. That's weird, she pulled it out, found texts flooding INRO. Say yes you idiot mama, that man better be proposing. I gave him my blessing 3 months ago. Unknown number, hi it's Lily. Dad doesn't know I have his phone. Did you say yes? I'm freaking out. Emma's here and we're freaking out. Simone showed Julian the texts. You told everyone? Lily told everyone. I just mentioned I was planning to propose soon, and she organized a whole communication network. He grinned. Your family's been texting me all morning asking if I'd done it yet. You're all ridiculous. You love us. I really do. 3 months later the wedding was small. Mama's backyard in December, lights strung through the trees, 50 people who actually mattered. Lily was flower girl in a purple dress she'd designed herself, carrying a basket of roses from Claire's garden in Charleston. Claire was there too. She and Julian had stayed friends, and she'd hugged Simone tight that morning, whispered, "Thank you for loving my daughter." Rose stood as maid of honor, crying before the ceremony even started. Mama sat in the front row wearing the necklace Simone's father had given her, beaming like the sun, and Julian waited at the altar in a dark suit, eyes bright with tears when Simone walked down the aisle in a simple ivory dress, her mother on one arm and her sister on the other. They wrote their own vows. Julian promised to load kills and drive to appointments and love her through good health and bad, through remission and scans and whatever the future held. Simone promised to let him help, to lean on him when she was scared, to build a life and family that would last generations. You may kiss your bride, the officiant said, and Julian did, gentle and sure, while Lily cheered and Copper barked in their family, blood and chosen, bound by love and pottery and Sunday dinners. Celebrated. 2 years later Simone sat at her wheel in the new studio, hands steady, creating a bowl for the exhibition next month. Through the window, she could see Julian's office on the 3rd floor. He was on a call, gesturing animatedly, probably arguing with a contractor. Her phone buzzed. Lily, can we work on pottery after school? I want to make Mom a birthday present. Simone. Absolutely. See you at 3:30. Lily. Love you. Simone. Love you too, sweetheart. The door chimed. Mama and Ro walked in, carrying bags from the bakery. Thought you might need lunch, Mama said, kissing her cheek. You eating enough? Ma, I'm fine. You're working too hard. She's always working too hard, Ro said, but she was smiling. Scan results come back yet? This morning. Still clear. 2 years in remission. They celebrated with pastries and coffee, 3 generations of strong women in a studio full of art and light. Later, when everyone had left and the sun was setting over the river, Julian appeared in the doorway. Hey, he said. Ready to go home? Home. The house they'd bought together in the mountains. Where Lily had her own room for summers and weekends. Where Copper had a yard. Where they hosted Sunday dinners that ran late into the evening. Yeah, Simone said, standing, stretching. Let's go home. He wrapped his arms around her from behind, chin on her shoulder. Happy. She looked at the pottery lining her shelves. At the river beyond. At the ring on her finger and the life they'd built from clay and hope and love fierce enough to fight cancer. So happy, she whispered. Good. Because I have news. What news? Claire called. She's moving to Asheville. Got a job at the Botanical Gardens. Simone turned in his arms. Really? Really? Which means Lily full-time. If you're ready for that. Are you kidding? That's, Julian, that's amazing. You're sure? It's a lot. Daily school runs, homework, teenage years eventually, I'm sure. She kissed him. We'll figure it out. We always do. And they would. Because they'd already survived the worst and come through stronger, they'd build a family from different pieces that fit together perfectly. They'd create beauty from broken things. They'd love each other through scans and scares and ordinary Tuesdays. They'd make something that lasted. Just like pottery. Just like family. Just like love that refused to quit, even when everything else fell apart. What did you think of Simone and Julian's journey? Have you ever found love in unexpected places? Drop a comment and let us know. And if this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear that even in our darkest moments, hope and love can find us.
Thank you so much for watching till the end. It truly means a lot to me. If this video touched your heart or resonated with you in any way, please show your support by hitting that like button and subscribing to Emotional Voyage. Your support helps us reach more souls on this journey. Until next time, take care of your heart.